as I have said today, marks the occasion, I didn't mention, but today, as we know, we marks the occasion of laying of the foundation stone of this mosque, and which is being laid with the consent of the council and the agreement of the local people. However, the laying of this foundation stone has reminded me of the proposed building of another mosque, one which has drawn the attention of the world, and in particular, the American public. The mosque that I am referring to is the proposed mosque in New York City at Ground Zero, where a few years ago, terrorists smashed planes into the Twin Towers. President Obama and the New York mayor had expressed support for this project, but the majority of Americans were opposed to it. And this difference of opinion was becoming ever more intense and increasing. Those who support the building of the mosque argue that because Muslims are blamed for bringing down the Twin Towers, this mosque will show that Muslims truly love peace. On the other side, those against the construction argue, amongst many other points, that a particular Muslim group undertook this terrorist act and the nation had to pay a terrible price. Building this mosque will be a permanent sign that having destroyed our beautiful buildings, Muslims have now built their own mosque at the same place. They argue that its construction will be a means of hurting their feelings continually, and thus it will be a victory for the terrorists who want to take over our places through force. In any case, this is a controversy in which the entire American and the international press, along with the American public, is involved. The press also contacted the Ahmadiyya community to ask our views on this project. We have always said that if the buildings that were destroyed by the plane crashes were the acts of a Muslim group, then first of all, it is absolutely contrary to the teachings of Islam to kill innocent people indiscriminately. Such an act is nothing but a grave cruelty. Secondly, if this building is to be built as a memorial for the national unity, for peace, for religious tolerance, and to show the peaceful teachings of Islam, then why construct only a mosque? This should be widened so that next to the mosque, let there be a church, let there be a synagogue, and let the places of worship of all other faiths also be built there, so that religious unity and tolerance can be truly displayed, and so that it can be known that Islam has no link with terrorism. This would clearly show that Islam wants to live side by side with the followers of all other faiths. It would make it clear that terrorism has no religion, nor does any religion sanction murder in its name. It would make it known that in contrast to those who murder in the name of religion, Islam takes the side of every peace-loving group. When the places of worship of all religions are in one place, it will be a declaration that no religion teaches unlawful killing. And Islam is also a religion of peaceful teachings, whose purpose is to remind man about the rights of God and the rights owed to human beings. And this is the sign of a true religion that is from God. The only meaning of Islam is love, affection, and brotherhood. If this is the only meaning of Islam, then how could it be that we do not live with other religions in love, affection, and brotherhood? A classic example of religious intolerance is the recent Quranic burning issue, which has gained everyone's attention. And I believe you would have heard of it as well. I am surprised at how a person, and a pastor at that, can even think of such an insensible act done to show the opposition to the building of the Ground Zero mosque. However, I thank God that this plan has been dropped and the world has been saved from disorder that would have arisen in response to it. The already existing animosity that some extremist Muslims hold for the West might have erupted into something big. They would have reacted in a wrong way that would lead to further religious intolerance and dissension. Islam, however, is a peace-loving religion which does not teach us to do wrong to stop wrong. And we, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, follow this principle and believe in the peaceful solution to all matters. In places where the Jamaat or the community is well established, this fact is well known. To give you an example of this, some months ago, for the sake of their vested interests, certain politicians and a particular parties started a campaign in Switzerland against minarets of the mosque. And they won a referendum on this issue. Actually, a majority of the public did not even vote in the referendum because people assumed that no one would vote on this seemingly silly matter. However, after this, members of the media, politicians, local people, and even some churches expressed their horror at this decision. In Zurich, the Ahmadiyya community has a mosque with the highest minaret. And right across the road is a church. The Swiss newspapers printed pictures of our mosque along with quotes from the nearby church, who openly said that they had always heard voices of love, affection, and peace from the mosque. In fact, our relations with the church are such that if our mosque cannot hold the entire congregation, they let us use their halls, and I myself have once led prayers in this church hall. It is because of our way of dealing and the teachings of love and brotherhood that the church has so much trust in us. It is clear, therefore, that Muslims are not the terrorists that are portrayed by the wrong deeds of certain Muslims for their own interests and who act against the teachings of Islam. In fact, true Muslims are ambassadors of peace. And with the construction of this mosque, you will see the proof for this with your own eyes, God willing. Those who are opposed to religion consider it to be a cause of hatred and war. However, if you assess the reasons for such wars, you will find either political motives or disputes over geographical boundaries being the reasons, or to capture or benefit from the resources of another, or sometimes they are due to national or tribal conflicts. It is true that sometimes wars have been fought on the pretext of religion, and this is because it is very easy to inflame people in the name of religion to mount a war. A major allegation laid against Islam is that it was spread by the sword. As I said earlier, this is an allegation against Islam, which I will clarify. Why and under what circumstances did Muhammad, the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, have to fight some battles? And indeed, these same conditions had to be met by his spiritual successor, the caliphs. As far as religion is concerned, no religion of the world advocates cruelty or barbarism, because religion comes directly from God, and God loves his creation very much. This is what we also learn from the Holy Quran. I have used the term spiritual successors because after the 4 caliphs who succeeded the Holy Prophet, the system of caliphate changed into a form of monarchy. The wars that monarchs fought were generally for the political and geographical reasons mentioned earlier. There were very few wars for religious purposes, and those that were fought were done so out of a state of necessity.